Hello everyone, and I hope you're doing well. Today we have probably my favorite Edison list of all time. I've been playing with this list for about 4 or 5 months now, so I've kind of refined it, I would say. This is the Gemini Gigaplant deck list. This revolves around pretty much summoning Geminis and using the Supervise Equip spell to make them pop off on the same turn. The biggest monsters of the deck are Gigaplant, because it lets you spam through level 8 synchros like no tomorrow, so you can just keep going into your Stardust Dragon, going into your Black Brute Dracos, and also Dark Valk is another good one that lets you pop a monster. So it's a really, really versatile like control deck, but also it can combo off like crazy if it sees the right hand. So without further ado, let me jump into the list, show you what cards I run, and then I'll show you what the main combo looks like afterwards. And I don't know if you noticed, but this is my mat that I use regularly. The one I use in my videos is the YCS one, but I thought I'd show off this lovely mat here. Hello, Stolas. If you know who this is, let me know in the comments, because I respect that. Let's skip past the playmat. Let me show you the deck list. So we're going to start with our monsters. We start with 3 Dark Valk. I like to call it Dark Valk. It's easier than saying Valkyria. So she is a 1800. When you get her effect, she can place a token on herself to bring her up to 2100, and then she can remove that token to pop a monster. So it's pretty much Breaker the Magical Warrior, but for monsters and a little bit slower. But this with the Supervise card, which we'll show off when we go into our spells, basically means it's a pop 1, and against, say, a set Raikou or a set Super Mega Nimble Hamster, anything like that, it can be really good. So yeah, this is an insane card, and you need to run 3 because it's one of the best cards to see in your opener. Now we run 2 Blazewing Butterflies. Yes, they are ultimate. I have blinged out this deck because I love it that much. So Blazewing Butterflies are 1500, and its effect is you can tribute it, bring back a Gemini from the graveyard with its effect. So this is really good going into your Gigaplant, which I'll be showing off next. So basically, this is like a lovely free way to get into any of your Geminis in the graveyard. We do run Future Fusion to send some to graveyard, so this can be really good in grabbing those back. Plus, it's a nice target for Spark if you just summon it on turn 1. Now we'll show off the core of the deck, which is the Gigaplants. So we have 2 Gigaplants, because you don't really want to see them in your hand, but you also want to be able to have more than one. So Gigaplant's effect when it's Gemini summoned is once per turn you can special summon 1 insect or plant monster from your hand or graveyard. If you notice, this Blazewing Butterfly is an insect. Not that you'll use it often, but it does come up if you need a bit more damage. Now, you may be wondering, what do we do to get into these Gigaplants? I'm just going to put these up here, so because it will be coming up frequently. But we use these 2 limited to Lone Fire Blossoms to go into our Gigaplants. This is an insane combo if you manage to get a Supervise off on the Gigaplant, because basically you go Lone Fire into Gigaplant, Gigaplant bring back Lone Fire, and then you can either bring back the other Gigaplant, or what usually happens is this guy comes out, Nettles. Honestly, the MVP of the deck, he's absolutely cracked. Every time he hits the board, the opponents lose their shit. But yeah, Nettles is essentially just a level 2 plant tuner that you can special off Lone Fire Blossom and Gigaplant. So once you synchro once, you can use Gigaplant again on Nettles to just keep going. So this is like your main core of the deck. And honestly, it's an insane resource loop, which I'll show off the full combo kind of nearer the end of this deck list here. For the last of our monsters, we have a couple of one-ofs. We have Evocateur Chevalier. His effect is to send an equip that you control to grave and pop a card on your opponent's field. Doesn't come up often, but it is a 1900, so that's honestly why it's in there, out any like T-Kings. We have Tuned Magician, who's just an 1800, who becomes a tuner when he's summoned, which can be helpful, especially if it gets revived. And then we have a couple of targets for a trap card we have, which I'll show off later, but we have 2 Gemini Soldier. This card is insane. I wish it came to printing other than common, because I want to bling them out. So essentially, it's a tiny guy. It's got 500 attack and 300 defense, but his effect is nuts. Yeah, once per turn, if this card would be destroyed by battle, it won't be. and then after damage calculation, it special summons a level 4 or lower Gemini from deck. So you can pretty much grab anything, including like the Tuned Magician, your Dark Valk, your Chevalier, and because it's in the battle phase, you can swing for a lot of damage with this thing. Not only can you swing for a lot of damage, if you manage to get this in defense, it just becomes a wall that just keeps special summoning free stuff. And there is a way we can summon this with a trap card, but I'll show that when we get there. We'll go through the spells first. But we can't forget the last monster, Yugioh Fighter. Once again, level 2 tuner. Except his effect comes up a bit more often. Once per turn, you can change one face-up attack position monster your opponent controls to defense position. So it can be useful in niche cases, but there is a card that special summons warriors, level 2 for free from the deck. So this is just a free tuner, pretty much, to special summon. Now we'll go into our spells first, and then we'll go into our traps. So we have 3 Gemini Spark. This, I mean, there's not much to say on this one. We're running a bunch of level 4 Geminis that can use their effect once, like Dark Valk. So this gets extra value out of them and helps dodge stuff on the field. And we run 3 Upstart Goblin. We want to see our Lone Fire Supervise combo as much as possible. So we need these goblins in here just to see those in our opening hand. Now this is the card that pretty much enables the full combo, Supervise. Now, if you haven't seen this card before, it's an insane card, but only for Geminis. So it reads, equip only to a Gemini monster, it becomes an effect monster and gains its effects. Already pretty damn good. But if this face-up card is sent from the field to the graveyard, target one normal monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So what this can do is, anytime anything this is equipped to is sent to grave, you can just summon it back, even if it's the only one in the graveyard. So, for example, if you have a Dark Valk, equip that, use its effect to pop, and then let's say they Mirror Force it. That'll go to grave, then Supervise will go, Supervise will activate, bring back Valk. So it's like, even just on its own, it combos with itself. It's a nutty card, and you'll see in the combo at the end of the video with Gigaplant how crazy that can go. And then we run some one-ofs. We've got the Brain Con, not much to say. We have a few bits in the extra deck that facilitate stealing strange levels for our level 2 tuners. We have Fusion Futura. Future Fusion. Our target, I'll show it now, if you don't know, is Super Alloy Beast Raptinus. Uses 2 Gemini monsters, and when it's summoned, just all Gemini monsters gain their effects on the field, which can be nuts. It's basically a supervise, but for every monster. So yeah, the crazy card. I mean, you can't not run Future Fusion if you have a fusion target. We have Heavy Storm because, you know, it's Heavy Storm. Same with MST. It's MST. Like, these are things you almost have to run. Now, this one is my favorite tech in this list, is Dragon's Mirror. So you can actually Future Fusion to send all of the Geminis to grave. Well, 2 Geminis to grave. And then because Super Alloy Beast Raptinus is a dragon, you can use Dragon's Mirror. Of course, you don't need to use Future Fusion to use Dragon's Mirror, but it does help a lot. It's just a nice way of getting Beast Raptinus out without having to wait for the Future Fusion, because I didn't want that to be the only way that you go into Raptinus. So, yeah, I think it's definitely worth running, and it's a really funny include, because people always get caught off guard by it. Now we'll go into the traps. We have the most important one coming up first, Ultimate Offering. This card is absolutely fucking broken, especially in this deck. So I have the old text here, which says it doesn't clarify which player can use it, but on the Edison website, I'll put up the functional errata. So basically, only you can use it. People misconstrue this and think they can use it even if it's on my field. So only you can use Ultimate Offering, but you can use it during your main phase or the opponent's battle phase. So that is another way. If you have a Gemini soldier, either in attack or defense, during the opponent's battle phase, you can just flip up Ultimate Offering and summon it so that it becomes an unbeatable wall, pretty much. So that's another funny play you can do with Ultimate Offering. But in general, this unlocks everything, because you can just Gemini summon as many times as you can. Be wary of your life points, is all I'm going to say. Make sure you have at least a couple thousand left, so that if you're really in a pinch, you can grab those and summon as much as you want. Now for another important card, we have Reinforced Truth. Now I see some people running 3 of these, but because of the amount of targets I run, I don't like running 3. My only targets are these guys. So this is the free summon you get for Jute, and the Gemini soldiers as well, since they're level 2 warriors. Basically, never activate this on your turn, because there is a downside of you cannot attack this turn. So you pretty much want to set this, and in the end phase, just flip it up, or if it's targeted for a heavy storm and stuff. The thing I like most about this card is that if they use an MST, or as I say, a heavy storm on it, you can just flip it and chain it. It really doesn't mean anything. But because I only run 3 targets, I only run 2 truths. But if you had a 3rd soldier in here, maybe another 3rd truth. But it's a really good card. I would highly recommend looking into it. There is a couple of other targets as well that you can grab, but I just like Jute because, I mean, Jute has a niche effect, but he's also Jute, he looks cool. Next we have some generics. We have 2 D-Prison. This really helps because whilst you can pop cards frequently, it's really hard to deal with cards like Stardust Dragon and other annoying threats that can't be popped or you can't attack over. So these are pretty much essential for the deck. We also run a single bottomless. You can definitely run 2 of these, but I found the D prison was actually more useful, so I had 2 trap holes, 1 prison, so I ended up switching it for the other way around. And then we have some one-off traps. We obviously have the Solemn Judgment. Not much to say on that one. Pretty busted. Mirror Force, same situation. Phoenix Winged. I can never say this card, man. I'm just going to call it Phoenix Blast. So Phoenix Blast, again, similar reasons to D Prison. Stuff you can't out. Put it back on the top of the deck. Mainly just extra deck stuff. And 1 bit of protection. Starlight Road. This card's nuts. I mean, I only run 1 because it's a bit bricky, but having 1 alone makes the opponent scared of it. And honestly, it comes up, especially with the Future Fusion. And the funny plays you can do with this, you can set this and like a Reinforced Truth or something that just doesn't matter, and then you can flip it. Hell, you can even flip it on your own Heavy Storm if you're desperate. So that's the main deck done. Let me show you my extra deck. Now, this does have a lot of wiggle room, I feel, because I've got a lot of monsters in here that only can really be summoned if you BrainCon. But, do what you want with it. You can add a Copy Plant in there as well, but I don't run Copy Plant. So to start off with, we have Fortress Dragon. This is for the side deck Cyber Dragon, and also if your opponent's on machines. It's pretty much a must include in every Edison deck. We have 2 Super Alloy Beast Raptornus. The only reason we run 2 is in case our Future Fusion goes off and then the Dragon Mirror goes off. So we don't 100% need 2. I don't think I've ever summoned 2 except for 1 game. But it's there as a just in case, type thing. We have some must includes. We have Armory Arm, Yugioh Guardian, Brionac. Of course, these are pretty much must includes. I mean, Armory Arm I've gone into about once in 100 games, so honestly you might be able to cut that. But Brio and Yugioh are too good to not cut. I mean, you could probably cut Brio because for the level 8 level 8 synchro that we have, that I'll show off in just a second. But it's always good to have the option. Speaking of BrainCon targets, this is one of them. We don't have a way to go into a 7, but if we steal a 5, we can go into X-Saber Urbellum. Next up, we have our Stardust Dragons, our 2 copies of Stardust Dragon. This is here for the Starlight Road, but also because it's a really good card. We're going to be going into level 8 synchros, like very, very often with the Gigaplant combo. So having extra Stardusts is never a bad thing, because it just protects your entire board. So it's pretty good. We also run a Dark End Dragon. I'm pretty sure the only way to summon this in this deck is using Dark Valk and Tuned Warrior, the tuner dude, since it's an 8 and needs a Dark. But if you get him out, he's really, really, really strong, but you probably not 100% needed. What is 100% needed is Black Brute Draco. This card is insane. The reason you don't see this outside of Gemini strategies is because it requires a non-tuner Gemini monster to be summoned. Now, his effect, There's a lot of words on it for an Edison card, I know. But essentially it says, once per turn, you can send a Gemini monster from your hand to the graveyard, select and destroy a spell and trap your opponent controls, which is the bonus effect. That's the bit we don't really care about, but it's nice. And then when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can select one Gemini monster in your graveyard and special summon it. The special summon Gemini monster is treated as an effect monster and gains its effects. And not only that, it's a 3000 attacker, and in Edison, that's massive. But essentially, you can bring back your Gigaplant and just do it again, make another one. So this pretty much demands a depresent or some sort of banishing removal or something that sends, which isn't as common in Edison. So this is our big play of the deck. This is an amazing card that you need for the strategy. This guy goes with Armory Arm, and he's an 8, so he can deal damage. That's pretty much the only reason he's in here. And Thought Ruler Archfiend is actually a lot more important than he looks in this deck because of Ultimate Offering. If you get your life points really, really, really low, and you need a way to get more summons, or you just want to be a bit more safe, you can summon this guy and get some life points back so you can keep comboing. It has happened a few times. It's not the most common scenario, but it's common enough that it actually has won many, many games just going into this guy. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll just show off my side deck, and then I'll show you the combo, the Gigaplant combo that usually happens when you see the right cards. So we have 2 Fossil Diner. We can Ultimate Offering into this, so it's quite funny, and I mean, a set Fossil Diner sometimes really does help. It's a good card. It's just a good card. We have DD Crow for the kind of Lightsworn and also the Vayu Turbo matchups, just to get those out of the grave. I mean, it's hard not to run DD Crow when there's stuff like Plague Spreader in the format. We got the 2 Cyber Dragons. I mean, going second staple. You kind of have to side these in going second. You don't have to, but they really, really do help. Royal Oppression for pretty much any matchup you don't like. I mean, I just hate the Frog Monarch matchup, so I just use it for like Treeborn and stuff, and Swap Frog and all that nonsense. Similarly, we've got Pulling the Rug, goes good against Hero Beat and Monarchs, and also just Caius in general. And then we got the mirrors. We got the light imprisoning and the shadow imprisoning. We got the light sworn counter. We got the Blackwing counter. We got a bit of both. Don't be like me. Always read the name, because for some reason I just can't distinguish the art. To me, they're just mirrors, and I know that has shadows on it. I know that has lights on it, but I think I sided in light imprisoning against the Blackwing the other day because I just assumed. For the last card of the side deck, we have the Lightning Vortex. This is just good if you know your opponent is going to set up big, but probably not going to Stardust Dragon. The best matchup I use this in is Dragon Turbo, where they get like the Red Eyes Metal Dragons out and stuff. But I mainly just put this in because it was ulti and I got it for cheap, so that's mainly the reason that's in there. But it has won me a few games, so it is worth including. So that's it for the deck list. Let me just show you like a custom hand. The 3-card hand, or 2-card hand, that can get you into like a lot of plays. So let me show you that real quick. So I'm going to do a bit of a custom hand. By custom hand, I mean I'm giving myself 2 cards, Lone Fire and Supervise, since that's pretty much all you need to get some sort of a combo going. If you have more than 1 Supervise, it's obviously crazy, but I'll show you the standard line that you will usually see if you draw these 2 cards. So this is in my hand. We've got Supervise here. So we'll go Lone Fire, and then we'll call priority on the effect, grabbing another Lone Fire. Then we'll do exactly the same thing to bring out Gigaplant. Now that Gigaplant's here, we have our Supervise to turn it into an effect monster. Now we can use the Gigaplant effect to bring out Lone Fire Blossom. Now Lone Fire can either summon these 2 from deck, which one you want. If you have another Supervise, you can go for the other Gigaplant, since you can grab the other Lone Fire and go into Nettles. But because we only have 1 Supervise in this hand, we'll just grab Nettles. Oh yes, this does go as well. I'm not cheating. So now that we've got this, we can go into an 8. So usually if we're going turn 1, I would go into Black Brute Draco, because if it gets destroyed, it just grabs this back. Although this line isn't amazing, because you just go Supervise, grab, Giga. So if they do destroy the Brute Draco before the Giga, that's a shame. So if anything, I'd actually be tempted to go into, say, just like a Stardust or a Thought Ruler, or you can go into literally anything on this turn. I prefer Brute Draco just because it's so much more recursion, and once you get it there, it's really hard to deal with since you can just like tribute this guy, and next turn you will be normal summoning him, you will be bringing out Nettles, and you will be summoning another dude if they don't deal with it. So yeah, there's a Stardust as well, and all of a sudden, all of a sudden you've got a very big threat where if they do manage to get 2 pops, and they do manage to get those back, you can bring back Stardust, and then bring back Giga with its effect. And then guess what you can do with Giga? Target Nettles. And then, it's the same board again. The best bit is, if he does the same thing again, he needs another 2 pops. And then it's back again. It's an insane, like, recursion. That's why you need 3 Dragos. But yeah, this is essentially like Synchro 8 Toolbox with Gigaplant. And never forget the second effect on Brute Draco. It gives you extra MSTs by discarding Gemini, so never forget that. Always remember that that's an option, because it has secured me many games, because most people don't know. So if you know, then you win. Knowledge is power, and whatever the saying is, and I know a lot. So that's it for the deck list. Let me move on to the outro. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like a extended kind of play guide for this deck list, because I play with it a lot and I'm happy to run through kind of each different play and why each different card is there and why it shows up. So do let me know, and I'll expand on this video a little bit more. That being said, if you made it this far in the video, please do feel free to hit subscribe. New Yu-Gi-Oh videos each week, and as always, happy dueling.